we're not started on YouTube yet.
Well, why the heck? Okay, so it is supposed to be
Well,
three.
that I don't know what that is, but he'll figure that
Okay,
out. But yeah,
I know it's supposed to be 1 o'clock my time,
right.
and
And two
people are
o'clock my
expecting
time.
that, right?
All right, I just heard.
Welcome to Jumping into the Deep End with Tresa, Gale, and Bianca, where we are recapturing the forgotten ones.
Hello, hey Bianca, how are you?
I am well. I am well. Hey, Tressa. Hey, world. Mwah.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome into jumping into the deep end. And today our topic is the glorified bag lady. Bianca, what is that all about?
Yes, yes. I am so excited to discuss this with you guys. We don't have our a guest today, but we definitely, I feel like I've been processing and going through this for at least the last couple of weeks about what does that really mean for me. And before I just jump in and start talking, I guess let me introduce myself for those who may not know me. My name is Bianca Thompson, Bianca McAtee Thompson on social media, and I believe that intention matters, and that if you do it, you going to things with a fabulous intention, then you will have fabulous results. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And Trust, I'll let you jump in and introduce yourself.
Yes. I am Tressa, and I'm known as Tressa on Facebook. So welcome everyone. Thank you for showing up with us today. Like Bianca said, we do not have another guest today, but we do have another host, and hopefully she can jump in um, real soon because we would love to have Gail here with us. And so for me, my motto here is conversations heal. I really believe that having conversations really open up a space for healing. All right.
All right. Yeah,
All
well, let's
right.
jump right in. I think for me, when I thought about bag lady syndrome or the bag lady, for me it kept coming up, bitter bag lady or the glorified bitter bag lady, although the title
Okay,
does not
okay,
include
okay.
the word bitter. And it and what came to what resonated, or what came to me, was that spirit dropped down that how have I been a bag lady in the
Yeah.
past, right now, and how can I move? How can I release those patterns? And when I really kind of sat with it, what came up for me is that this has shown up for me in relationships. Oh my goodness. I was
Mm.
like, my relationships with men has definitely mirrored and showed me so much about myself. And I think
Okay.
about, yeah, it was really interesting. And then I started to really dig deeper and explore. I say, oh my gosh, I've been in relationships for really most of my life with men. Like I, I was married. Oh, there is that Gail. No, not
No,
Gail,
that's
not yet.
not yet. Not yet.
Okay, well, I'll just keep going. So I thought about how I've been in relationships for most of my life. I married my high school sweetheart, and we were married. We were together like over 15 years, and then there's a little after the divorce. There's a little break where I had another relationship, and I think that one was about 3 to 4 years, then another 2 years, and then the most recent ones, I think it was like almost 6 years. So there's always been these relationships, and I was like, dang, I've never really had any like a prolonged period of time just by myself. So I was like, okay, this is like good. And when I started to look and dig into those relationships and how they ended, and how I acted, how I felt afterwards, I was like, yeah, I was definitely, I had some issues. I was bitter about some things, I think, after each relationship, because I think in my mind, in the past, I've always said, okay, when I'm in a relationship, I'm going to do all these things or be this certain way. So it's going to be perfect. It's going to work. And then there's been, I think with each relationship, there's been this period where, you have that hurt and that angry, but then there's that bitterness where it's just like, fine. fuck everybody. I'm mad. Like this some bullshit. So I think about when my marriage ended. I was just angry, just bitter, and I don't feel like when I think about it, I don't feel like I ever took it out on other men or felt like all men were trash because this relationship didn't work out. But I definitely carried that resentment into the other relationships, and it showed up in different ways. It didn't show up as, oh, I'm gonna beat him down or anything like that, but it showed up in me trying to overdo and overcompensate and not just really flow. So it was more of like, if I messed up here, but if I do keep doing, and which is so not the feminine energy.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Like if I just keep doing that, it's gonna work out. And it didn't. And then each time it just didn't work. Although I may have tweaked some things here and there, but I feel like I never really fully sat back and looked at everything, like, and how, as far as, and taking responsibility, like full responsibility, full accountability as to how I operated in them. And it's like, okay, there's definitely a lot of shit to unpack um with relationships, and when they end, and looking yourself and what part that you played in it, so that you don't like continue to carry those bags. So I feel like my last breakup was in 2018, and I feel like I'm still unpacking stuff, and not like, oh, I'm stuck in it, but there's still parts of my character that I'm that's being revealed to me, which is great, because if I decide to get in another relationship, I don't want that same shit coming back up again. I don't
Right.
want to do, I want to flow. I want to definitely be in my feminine energy and let him be in his masculine, and that we flow, that it's a dance, and not this constant jerking back and forth because we're
Mm.
both out of balance. So it's it's really good that I really wanted a guest for today, but it's kind of exciting because it's like I feel like this is really giving me a chance to dig into my own personal shit and how I can be a bag lady sometimes. And it just really it really was interesting. I was listening to another show once, and this woman shared how between relationships, she felt, this was her personal opinion, that you
Hmm.
should really give yourself 5 years before
Okay.
diving into another relationship. And I was like, 5 damn years. Hey, Gil.
Hey, girl, about time, girl, about time. Lord have mercy.
Girl, I
Hey.
apologize. It wasn't me. I've been here since 2:30. I don't know what happened. I was telling myself maybe I'm having a random,
No, you
lunatic
good.
moment.
You good. You're good.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Stuff
I,
Okay.
happens.
I,
We're gonna
we
flow with
don't
it.
know. We don't
We,
know, but you know
right.
what? It's all good. You here.
Right. We are excited to have you. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Gail, I was chatting, but before I finish up, please introduce yourself since you are here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gail, and I welcome so much to jumping into the deep end, the vodcast. I so welcome you joining us, and we're going to have a spectacular conversation today because this one is just for the girls. It's just for us. So,
Yes, yes.
Yes,
just
yes.
for us.
So Gail, I don't know how much you heard, but I'm not going to recap it. But I was just sharing how I was listening to another woman once, and she felt as though if when you have a breakup, you should give yourself 5 years before starting a new one. When she said it, I was like, "Girl, back," and that was just last year.
Five.
I was like,
Five is a
5 years. That's a
long
long
time.
time. I said, but her thinking was, it wasn't that you wouldn't go out on dates or explore pop, or just I guess date, I mean go out with different people,
Mhm.
not necessarily having sex with everyone, but just go out with people, building new relationships. But she said before you can really jump into that next relationship, just really giving yourself some time to kind of unpack everything. And now I get it. She said that last year, and I was like 2 years, it's been like 2 years. I was like, oh, no, that's a little bit too long. But now I get it, because there's usually sometimes like after those relationships, there's so much to unpack. And I feel like I'm in this phase of really exploring me, myself, and I, and getting to know Bianca on a deeper level. And it would be cool to have somebody, but when I think about having another relationship, I'm not like, yes, I gotta have it, or yes. It's just kind of like, I don't know. And I'm okay with that, because there's energy that you need to extend to that other person. And not to say that they're going to drain your energy, but there is some give that you have to be willing to, you have to be willing to share yourself. And I'm feeling a little greedy and selfish with me, myself, and I right now. And I'm a stand on that and be okay with it. So
Okay.
it's just been interesting. And who knows, this might change next month. I may be like, oh, I think I'm ready. I don't know. But definitely that bag lady syndrome has followed me from one relationship to another. And I thought about it too. I was like, man, I'll be 55 this year. And from 16 years old to 51, I had always been in a almost pretty much a long-term relationship. In between those, like those 4 major relationships, there were small breaks. So there was really no like real me time, no me, myself, and I. So whatever shit I had, I definitely brought it along to the next relationship, because there wasn't really a whole lot of time to unpack it. So that's kind of been the things that have downloaded from me this week, or last couple of weeks, when I've been thinking about our topic, and just what does that mean in my life personally. And it definitely is relationships with men, and me dragging that same shit sometimes. And for me, it was that the number one, I think maybe one of the number one things in my bag was, I had to be the perfect girlfriend, the perfect wife, the perfect partner. It was like this idea of, if I did all these things right, be it, encouragement in the bedroom, just whatever. I did all that right, shit was going to go well.
And so you was already setting up for a recipe of it was a recipe for disaster. Already
Yes,
a recipe for disaster.
Yes, sis. Yes.
Yes. So Bianca, thank you, because I am sure that there is a lot of women out there that would agree with you that they've carried baggage from men, from relationship to relationship, for whatever reason. But I think also, to put it in a different context, the very thing that you talked about too is this perfection, this idea of perfection. Like that was baggage in itself, because it's almost like the men was a consequence of your already erroneous thinking. So it showed up as men for you, but technically it was the erroneous thinking, perfection for you, and it showed up as men. And that was your baggage, because you had all this erroneous thinking. So, because today, I love it, because today we get a chance to talk about some of the surface stuff, and we get a chance to go a little bit deeper. And that was your experience, and it was real. But at the bottom of it too, it was like that you had started addressing some of those thought patterns. You probably would maybe have handled a couple of the relationships different, a little sooner. Girl, I know. I ain't judging you now. I know. I know what you're talking about. Okay, Miss Gale, let's hear what was your experience when you started to work on or think about the bag lady and the stuff that you could carry.
Well, okay, so I gave it thought all this week, but in the background, because I was thinking of all the luggage and stuff that I carry, and how even my luggage that I carry with me is unorganized. There is no organization to it. It's just right there. It's just all in one big cluster. Some people are more so proficient in organization. That's something that I do not lack. I will just put it all in one big heaping pile of shit. And that's what it was. But as the week was going on, something happened with my daughter, with something somewhat unfortunate happened to her. And she was in the process of beating herself up. And I had to go back And I was talking to my husband and I was telling him about some of the things, and he was upset with her decision. And I had said to him, how can you be so judgmental and careless with her and trying to tear her down? And then I had to stop because the testimony that I was about to give her wasn't his testimony. I was going to give her mine. And I said, let's go back. I want you to walk with me as I go back and I revisit something that happened in my past, because I want to make you aware that this will too pass. And I said, so stop beating yourself up. I said, you are a new creature every 7 years. My mother told me this, and I have committed that to memory. I said, you are a new creature every 7 years. I've been a new creature for 17 different years. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you about something from my past. It's going to make whatever's going on with you seem inconsequential. So as I was revealing to her some chaos from my past, and I had told her how I had gotten fired from a job because I had lied on a job application, I could not believe, because I had totally forgotten about the situation. I forgot about it because, I asked the Lord to remove it from me because it hurt me so badly. But I went back and I dissected the luggage that I still had and that shit that was still right there waiting on me. So I told her of some of my sorrow and some of the crazy chaos that was sitting in my luggage. And I said, let me tell you what really happened. And I said, and when they fired me, and I said, and they escorted my ass out of there. I felt like they were throwing me out like I was a slingshot. Like, get your shit and get your ass up out of here. So as I was telling my daughter something from my past, she started laughing and smiling. She said, so it's not going to always hurt. Oh, no, ma'am. It's not going to always trouble you. Mm-hmm. And I said, and I have no shame to offer. I said, but technically, I had forgotten about it because I had asked the Lord to remove it from me. And my mom says, she used to tell me that when you ask the Lord to remove those things that trouble you in your past, he cast it as far as the east is from the west. And it took me a moment to go back and find that situation that she could understand and appreciate. And I said, see, if I had have never told you, you would have thought I would have been sitting in judgment over you and chastising you over something that happened that was careless. It was carelessness on your part. I said, but moving forward, I'm not going to say you're not going to make any more mistakes in life. That's a lot. You're going to make different mistakes. You won't revisit this one again because did you get the lesson? And she said, yes, ma'am. I said, because the lesson will constantly present itself to you and you will get it. And if you don't get it, you're going to have to constantly keep repeating it until you can get it and move on. I guess that's the teacher that lives in me too. And I said, so moving forward, you won't let that shit trouble you anymore. And I said, you're not going to make this mistake. And she said, so they threw you out. I said, yeah, they threw me out of the building. And I stood on the outside. I stood on the outside just looking at it. I just stood there like, what the fuck just happened? I stood on the outside of the building because it was my mistake. I said I was young and careless. I said I was a lot younger when it happened to me than what's happening to you at the age that you are. I was younger, but it did not escape me. And I said, now moving forward, it's easier for me to tell the truth, good, bad, or indifferent, or I just won't speak about something. I won't talk about it if I can't offer you something positive about it. I said, but pretty soon, after this chapter's done, I said, this time next year, you're going to look back and laugh at this, at what's going on in your life. You're going to laugh at it. And I said, you'll be stronger for it too. I said, so when security walked me out, two big old white boys, they walked me out of this store. I was like, you know what, God, as I was talking to myself when they They didn't even allow me to go back and gather my things. They was like, "Oh
Wow.
no, baby girl, we got your shit right here, player." So they walked me to the door. Basically, I felt as if they kicked me in the rear end and told me to get out. And now, when I drive past this store, I get sort of nervous and anxious because
Mm.
I revisit those that feeling from when it happened to me over 30 something years ago. But I had forgotten about it. But when I told her my truth, I felt it all over again. And I said, I'm just making you aware that moving forward, you'll have other things that are going to trouble and plague and show up for you. But this one right here, this, whatever this chaos or unnecessary, which happened on your watch and you did it to yourself, you won't do it again. And she told me, thank you for telling her my truth. She's like, Mom, you too much sometimes. I said, I know. That's the asshole that lives in me. So I was like, you'll be fine, baby. You're going to shake this off. And one of these days, you might have to recant it to one of your children and tell them something that you did. And you'll decide if you're going to tell them the truth about how you feel and what has happened in your past. That's just a slither.
So what I hear you saying, Gail, is one of the ways that you circumvented your daughter if she takes the lesson is that it keeps her from packing up the baggage. In this instance, shame, guilt, things that sometimes, like you say, we could forget, don't realize is there. Even you have this visceral feeling when you go by this store, meaning that there's still some connection there. And
Still there.
when
It's
you
still
work
there.
with your daughter, that moment, and you got to remember it, the same way it's an opportunity now for you to finally let that rest. You may not have really thought about it when you went by, but all of a sudden, when you told your daughter, you're like, dang, every time I go by this store, and because you had kind of pushed it away, now you got a chance to say you can heal, and she gets an opportunity that she doesn't have to take that baggage into her and carry that. That's one thing she doesn't have to do. She don't have to unpack it if she'll address it now, which is really powerful. Two people got a lesson out of this whole experience.
Well, I was wondering now that I'm sitting here talking with you all about it, I was wondering why I never really would go to the store, go to this big store. I would never really go to it because I used to work for them, and it had made an imprint, and it was not a positive one, and it just kept inspiring me to I would beat myself up every time I would think about it. So I forgot about it until I had to open up the luggage and find it, because I was like, I know I got it. I know that shit's in there. It's just, I need to find it. And I was like, normally if I was a more so organized person, I could have my luggages, packed, have the shame here, the guilt there, the misgivings there, but it didn't work like that. I had to go through some other stuff that I had forgot about. Like, girl, I didn't even know you were here. I'll deal with you later. But when I pulled it up, it was like going through a file of facts in your mind, like, and then when it stopped, I was like, there it is. Let me show her something that's unflattering in my past that caused me sorrow, that made me mad about a decision or a lie that I told to get something that wasn't mine. And after I had achieved what I thought I wanted, the taste was not that sweet. It was not cheerful at all. And till this day, I still don't really like going in there and messing with them, But
now that you're aware of what happened, even if you choose never to go into that store, this is the moment that you really have clarified what was hidden so that you don't have to have that gut reaction. That's when you really start to know that you unpack this stuff, because you don't have the same reaction. You can look at it and you don't react. You don't even have, and there's the different levels of reacting. You could be, or you could be, huh, and that means it's something still there, but it's not like it used to be. And so
not like it used to be.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really love about this conversation, because as we talk about it, what I'm starting to see is, like, again, it gives everybody an opportunity in the audience to see that the baggage often is not the outward thing. It's usually something much deeper. All that stuff is kind of how we play it out, And so that's, so you're talking about unpacking this baggage. Really, you like, and for you, when we think often that when you don't deal with it, it never goes away.
Right.
It just kind of goes, like you said, it hides it in a corner or whatever, and it keeps on coming up. So for me, this morning, I've been thinking about it too. And mine has not, I've thought about relationships, and I've thought about some of the things you guys have talked about. But as I began to kind of go a little bit deeper, I was like, okay, that's how that played out. But what's going on? And so I want to share a couple of things. But what I really want to share is starting with this morning, coming home from work. And then I've had this experience before, because I used to have really, really bad anxiety attacks. And so I could be, and it used to be when I was thinking about negative things. So now it's not like nothing negative. It's like I'm really thinking about, like, trying to imagine into my body, like imagine. So I'm thinking about, okay, say whatever it is. I want a house, for example. That's just an example. So I'm thinking about what kind of house, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm just adding all these nice imagining, like getting into the feeling. And then I have this big, huge panic attack. I mean, it is like, it just like, it starts to overwhelm. It's like, and so I realized that there is some work inside my body, or that because the body keeps the score. So where there's been trauma around that. So for me, that could look like, well, if you get all these things, you got to show up, or like Bianca, or maybe you got to be perfect in holding on to it, or maybe you don't want to look this way. So all of these things, when you think about the baggage, is oftentimes, again, the outside is the way things play out, but there's a deeper meaning behind all of this stuff. So I was thinking about the baggage of hiding, the baggage of performing for love, the baggage of fear of allowing what could be, the baggage of not giving ourselves grace, the baggage of sabotaging ourselves.
Ooh, that one.
Yeah, because recently, I had 6 months to complete after my coursework, to get my certification for to be a spiritual coach. I was like the last 3 days humping, pulling all that stuff together, writing my paper, doing everything that I needed. And I was like, why did you do that to yourself? What was about that? What baggage are you carrying that let you, and that you would not move forward? Like, what was, like, and so those are the type of things when I think about baggage for me, it's like answering those questions. Because when we watch our behaviors, like, again, the things that we do is how we play it out. But when you start digging up deeper, you begin to see where we're not allowing ourselves grace. Okay, so why is that? You get to start going back. And so there's things that's really been showing up for me too, now that I asked the question. Because here's the thing, you ask the question, the answer will come, and the answer is always in the question. Sit with it long enough, and you're gonna get some answers.
Right. There's so many things that y'all have said. I think, Gail, when you talked about how you would get nervous and anxious, and I think there was like, after, like, relationships ended with me, there was a little bit nervousness about starting a new one. Whereas now I'm not nervous anymore, but I'm mindful and aware of what what my past have been, and what areas I need to be really in tune with to make sure that I'm showing up as authentic. And I think, I don't know who said it, the lie that you talked about the lie you told. I may not have told a lie. Well, I guess it was outwardly. It's like I think the lie I told was that for me in my situations was that I'm this, and because I'm this type of person, you're gonna always, this is gonna work out. So I wasn't being authentic, because I would not let, parts of me be seen. I was hiding. So it's just like everything that you guys are saying, I'm picking and I'm pulling. I say, yep, I was hiding. I wanted to appear perfect, so that if they saw that part of Bianca that will snap and go the fuck off, that they won't want to stay, or they, won't want to be in this relationship with me. So then, again, me trying to be perfect. So that trust, I think you said performing for love, and it's like, it's exhausting.
Because when I hear you, what I hear you say is,
yes.
So it kind of so for you, it was like, again, you had all these things going on, but your baggage showed up as how you showed up, had a relationship with men, but at the core, you didn't think nobody would love you if they saw you. You didn't, but it's the most important, but an even more important thing, this is an opportunity for every woman out there, because we are each other, to say, wait a minute, I felt like if he saw me, he wouldn't want me. But at the real core of it, you didn't want you. You hadn't accepted you. Because when you really accept you, it's like you bring to you, we gravitate, so that thing. I know when I listen to you, I'm thinking, dang, the lies I lived. Not necessarily told, but the lies I lived. Self-betrayal was baggage. I'm dealing with a lot of right now, this thing you talk about, fraudulent stuff. Like for me, overperforming, not necessarily for love, but that too. Because I'm like you, I can give a history about some baggage when it came to men, that I would just constantly. And then as I've gotten older, it's better. But better don't mean good. I want y'all to understand that. I tell somebody, like, starting off with a bone, don't have no meat on it, with a little bit of ground beef, that greasy shit. And then you get a little bit more of a different kind that's got a better quality. And then you might get another kind, but you still haven't reached the best. It just seems like it's so much better than what you had, but it don't mean it's good. And so
if you're starving, it's irrelevant what's served to you. If you're starving,
and right. So, but that's the thing. It appears to be irrelevant, but sometimes it's better to drink a bunch of water than eat some greasy shit. It's just better. Your body will thank you later. And so, but when you in desperation, like you talking, Gale, in a sense, when you're talking about when we're in desperation and we want somebody, but we don't realize the person we really want is ourselves, or should be seeking out is ourselves. And then everything else will kind of unfold. But a lot for me, the lie that I lived was it always was really about other people but me. And the fear of holding and hiding in the background, baby, because I can be good with getting good sisters together and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then when it's time for me to show up, it's like I've always felt like a fraud. But because of that, I've still been going back, unpacking some of that. And I'm starting to get really clear where a lot of this stuff is coming from. So ladies, if you had something, because we all have had baggage that we're unpacking. And if you could tell the audience out there, how did you, or what are you doing to move through all of that? Because one of the things when we have these conversations, we don't want to just trauma bond women, because we can connect with each other through trauma, or connect with each other through success, or connect with each other through different things. So we don't want to leave our audience feeling like this is, a bashing of, because we're here to tell a story, but our story has impact. And so what are some of the things that you would say that you feel like you've moved through, or that you could talk about your own success, or how maybe the baggage has catapulted you into a different situation?
Um, I think for me, because with like I had those that bag that like when I have quite a few bags, but that the major ones was what the ones with the relationships and how there was never really a long or it's usually a short break after each relationship. So and although there wasn't like there's like what one, two, three, four. I wrote stuff down. Four major relationships
That's good.
that I've
Mhm.
had between 16 and 51.
Mhm.
So there was no time in between for me to unpack. Whereas now I'm like, now it's different because I've been single since 2018. And there's part of me sometimes with that old thinking, it's like, I should be in a relationship because, the world. No, I just need to be. And I think being still and really like dismantling all the chatter from the world because sometimes you get so much being poured into you if you can't go somewhere and sit and be still and meditate it's hard to really know yourself because you have all this other stuff. So I think that has been helpful for me just to be still. And I mean, I've taken different classes and done different programs to kind of just help me learn more about me. And that's been so helpful. But now I feel like I'm at a place where I've taken enough classes. I feel like right now it's just time to be still and just um, really keep my meditations going and work on really showing up being authentic and listening to my intuition. That has been huge, like just huge. Like when just because someone likes me doesn't mean I have to like them. Just because they want this from me doesn't mean I have to want that. So I think that the one of the most I think one of the most powerful books that I read at the time that I needed was about creating boundaries. It was I can't think of the exact title, but but it's written by Christine Northrup or Thrup. I might be pronouncing her last name
Northrop.
wrong. Thank
Mhm.
you. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Her book on I don't know if she called it energy vampires and setting boundaries,
Hmm.
but setting boundaries with people and then also it allowed me to take a deeper dive into myself into like, okay, what is it about me that allowed some of these situations? And for me, when I think about that, I was not being authentically me. I wasn't showing up as Bianca Michelle McAtee Thompson. I was like Bianca, and that's not who I am. So it's really about truly being authentic and not sometimes when I think about how we glorify our bags, it's like we we take pride in how we we are angry, hurtful, or resentful sometimes. And that's not the goal here. The goal here, I think, is just to really dive deeper with, I think, like I said, reading different books, going to different classes with different women, even sometimes men. Um, can't leave the masculine out of this. And just really, I think deciding to be open. I made a decision at the last breakup. I was like, okay, I was hurt, I was angry, I was frustrated. I was like, I'm just not doing this again. I need to not be in a relationship for a while. I knew that. I did know that much. I was like, I'm not jumping into another relationship anytime soon. So I just knew that I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, but now things are kind of unfolding. I think, like Tressa, when you say you ask the questions or your heart is open, it will come to you. It will come to you. And sometimes it may be a massive download or downloads here, there, but you'll get the messages and be able to learn and to be in a more authentic space. So that's
That's
what it's been for
good.
me.
Wow. And before Gail jump in, I really want to, kind of say a couple things. And Gail, if you have anything to say behind Bianca, that's go ahead. I just wanted to say that there was a couple of things. One is sometimes for black people, women, it's called an angry black syndrome or whatever, or we try to do everything. We're gonna have to try to do everything. And we're learning that that's baggage. We don't have to do everything.
Ooh, baby.
Um, but sometimes it's also when you think about always I lost my train of thought. Wait a minute, let me try to see what I was trying to say. You mentioned that you were doing all of these things, it'll come back to me. I'm just because there was something that I was thinking about with when we try to when we're angry and we glorifying these things, the anger, the bitterness, the whatever, and we wear it like it's a warm coat, that's baggage. But the baggage is not the what everybody see. The real baggage underneath that is we're wounded, we're hurt, we're like, wait a
Yes.
minute, let me put this around me, because if
Yep.
I'm prickly like a thorn, you won't touch me, even though deep down that
Yep.
person may really
That's
really
exactly
want
it.
something
Yeah.
different for their lives. They don't know how, because the baggage underneath what's showing up is that I really have been hurt or wounded. Sometimes we're wounding ourselves. And I think often boundaries we have to set them with other people. But I think some of our baggage is we don't set boundaries with ourselves. We let ourselves do what the hell we want to do. We need to be sitting down getting that paper done, Tresa Simmons. But Tresa gonna wait till the last friggin' minute. Tresa gonna do everything. I need to say no. I ain't eating late at night. So a lot of these things, the baggage is again things that where we haven't set our boundaries with ourselves.
Right. And it's also like, I think when I read Christine Northrup's book, it was like, yes, to have these boundaries with the other folks, but like I said, it really caused me to look at myself inwardly and like, what's going on with me that I allow this type of person. So I like it, and it took some time. It wasn't like all this happened right at the end of it. No, I was pissed. I was fucking angry. I was ready to fight. I was crazy. I was like, bring it. So, so yeah, I mean, I did have a lot of stuff, but and what was, wait a minute, what's so fun, well, interesting, not funny, but what's so interesting, I never, in all of my relationships, I never wanted my husband, my partners, I never want boyfriends, I never want them to see the angry Bianca, but she real. So I would always put on this facade. So when things would, when I couldn't take it anymore and that blow up happened, oh, they were like, who is this? So it comes out. But yeah, I think for me, um a lot of times too, it goes back to me feeling and knowing that I'm worthy. Like, because when I'm outside of that knowing, if when I've in the past been outside of that knowing that I'm worthy, that's when like a lot of the craziness happens, because I'm not tapped in. I'm not tapped
Mhm.
into my worthiness. And I know it's kind of I don't want to say it's a trite word, but it's kind of used a lot. But if we really live like we know we worthy, oh my God.
Or what's another word I would say if we really align with our worthiness?
Yes, if we're in alignment with our worthiness. A lot of times I'm worthy, I'm a queen, I'm this. But when we are in alignment with it, baby, that's a whole different picture.
Yeah, when we
It's
embody it. Yes, for sure.
right.
And everybody
Embodiment.
will, and society will acknowledge it. You know,
Right.
the people who are in your lives, or the people who desire to be in your life, they will acknowledge your being worthy and deserving. And some days I am of the mindset, kiss the ring on your way out. So
I like that.
you're
History.
talking to a queen. Kiss the
Right.
ring, bow
Oh,
down, take the
oh,
knee. Uh,
Yes.
but
and
I wanted to, huh?
go ahead.
No,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Gail.
Okay, well, I had to write a couple of things down, because if I don't capture them on paper, they're gone. So
Okay.
uh, sometimes for me, I have to worry about the sponsoring thought behind the lies that I have lived and the lies that I've told. What's that sponsoring thought? What is my instant gratification, so to
Yes.
speak? And when I told that lie that I had other employment, that's what it was. I had told some place that I worked at another place, and I was waiting on someone who used to work at the store to back me up, to validate me. But when the company found out that I had lied, it was a falsehood, and they threw my ass out of there. By the time uh, I got home, I had dissected everything that was going on, and I was so mad at myself, and I was ashamed. I was bitter. I was angry. That superwoman complex definitely was showing up for me because, you know, I had such I had such high hopes and high standards in my head. I kept singing that song in my head, the ant in the rubber tree plant. You remember that song? That old song, what makes that ant think he can move that rubber tree plant because he's got high hopes? I was that chick. I had high hopes for myself, but when in all actuality, I was I was a liar. Uh, by the time it all was said and done, I had to learn to forgive myself. I had to ask myself to forgive myself for being careless with myself about that. It was nobody else's fault. I couldn't pin it on anybody. It was all me. And then after I sat there and I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it has been easier now to say, yeah, it was my fault because it's in the past now. But sometimes when I am in the process of dealing with myself, I have to look at me authentically. I have to look at what I don't allow some of the other people or the public to see. You know, because when you see me, because I had to tell somebody something at one meeting I was at, and they were showing out, and they had never really seen, they had never seen the asshole that lives in me, and I had to, give them a brief tutorial because I was like, you know what? I get so tired of people talking to me like I'm random. So I had to rise to the occasion and give them a brief tutorial to make them aware that when you see me, I desire for you to see me. You don't sneak up on me. You don't stumble up on me. When you see me, I want you to see me. So therefore, I am putting forth my best face for you. But make no mistake, when you were talking, Bianca, I said, make no mistake, there is a monster there. The hardest thing for my family and some of my friends to see and acknowledge, they think, oh, you're so sweet, you're so loving, you're so pretty. Oh, but make no mistake, I'm a beast, baby. If I am inspired and you activate that aspect of me, the part that I get mad about, it's hard for me to come down from it because it's sort of like a high. Because I'm walking through and I'm destroying shit that I have wanted to destroy, but I've just been careful with myself and being mindful and be like, well, no, I don't want to really show out. But when I had to show out to a couple of boards, and I kept saying, please, I don't, even though I was the only Black there, I was like, I don't want to show my ass. I don't always have to say something. I don't want to do this. But they kept edging me on. And then I just said, let's just go on and do this. Let's get this over with, boys and girls. I guess I was having a teacher flashback. Okay, can you say fuck that shit today, boys and girls? Let me tell you how Miss Gale operates. So after they got the teacher that lives in me, and I said, I want one of you all to go to the board and I want you to write something down for me. And after I had them write something down, because they were willing and eager to write something. And I said, after you write down what I say, then I want you to close it up by saying, fuck that shit. And they were like, what? Yeah, write that down. Miss Gale wants you to write that down. I said, so listen, you have no power over me. You will not be shaming me. You don't stumble up on me. I'm not random. God placed me here. I am thrilled to be here. So make no mistake, when you talk to me, please be mindful, because when I talk to you, I've already gone through a script or a scenario in my head of what it is that I am desiring to convey. And I don't trip up when I'm talking, especially business. But if you've inspired me and you've scratched that monkey that lives in me, if you scratch it hard enough, oh, you're going to get a performance. And that's what happened to a couple of situations. But now I am a lot more reserved because I didn't like having to show myself, but it had been like 5 or 6 different situations. Oh, I forgot to tell you all. I am what you call a counter. I don't count everything, but certain situations in my life, I count them. And once they reach a pivotal point, then the asshole that lives in me shows up and makes sure that we have a direct meeting of the mind, because I don't want you to make the mistake the next time because I'm unsure what the asshole might do. Just being truthful.
So, I think that, in listening to you, I mean, it's your truth. I think that the baggage that comes with women sometime, or any of us, is that we're not truthful. If this is your truth,
yes,
we're not truthful. Yes. We just kind of like want to pacify everybody. Right. I was thinking about something one of my good sister friends wrote on Facebook, and she talked about the different gods. And one thing she said, Oshun was so sweet. She was of the Yoruba tribe, and she's they call it mythology. That's a term that people kind of use, but I don't really like that word, but for lack of a better word. And they talked about when you pissed her off, she dried up everything. Oya can be there to really support you. The God, the wind, the rain, the thunder, and help you with change. But she can destroy some shit too. And she went on to name some things that particularly Black women, we've carried this baggage that we got to be all sweet and no bitter. What bitter is called for. Yep. Now, I'm not a counter, but what I feel like in my own experience has been, I don't often speak up enough. I don't want to wait till things just blow up and I have to speak up, because when I feel like, for me, and this is not against you, Gail, when I felt like those experiences was for me, it was like the anger and stuff was pushing me, but I didn't feel like I was connecting me enough to say, you know what, let's have this conversation. Or I had this fear around either not being liked or not being could be responsible for myself, or even of being hurt. That if you speak up, there was always going to be, and then I was in a domestic violence situation, and I grew up in domestic violence in my household. So there was all of these things that was baggage that kept me, because you were talking about, Bianca, you all being the authentic person, the authentic woman. Now, what I will say for me now, often everything comes back to me. It comes back to me not because I'm bad and I've done something. No, not because I'm always missing the mark and all this stuff, but a question. Like, what is the lesson? Or what is it I need to know? Or what is it I should be doing? Or where is really where the thing is that I need to be like filling into? Sometimes just to fill into to see. It does not always have to be something major. So I think for me, with all that I've also gone through, it's it helps me in the work that I do now. It definitely helped me with conversations. I noticed that some of the work that I do, everything is pretty much around conversations. The women's group called Voicing Our Integrity, Choices, and Expectations Successfully. A lot of these things was things that I didn't feel like I could do at the time, but hold grace and space for other women now. The platform where we dissect different things, and where I've had talks before was Conversations with a Sister. Like all of these things about and my motto is Conversations Heal. So I think for me, when I talk about the work that I do and how I've moved through some of my baggage, is conversations with other people, but mainly conversations with myself. Like I'm having more conversations with myself these days than ever, and trying to really be truthful than ever. Because I do want a relationship, but I told myself that was first many years ago, no good men. Then I thought, okay, there's good men out there, but there's no good men for me. And then I realized there's good men for me, but I didn't allow myself to explore that. Never just allowed myself to explore that there's some good men for me. It's like I have felt like in most of my whole life, I pulled back. just kind of never kind of full. So if I would say who I am the day I'm going to, it's like this raw, explosive, energetic power of a woman who is gonna be wild, free,
Yes.
raw, authentic, like, and I still feel I have to work with that all the time because it's in the body. So much trauma has happened that I realized that and some of it is not just mine. When I think about my ancestors, and
Yes, that part.
when I think about them,
Generational. Yes.
generational stuff. So my mother, her parents, and I was born in 62. They were still sharecropping in
Oh
62. They lived
wow.
on this man's land. And I think it was 11 or 12 of them. And my mother was the youngest. And they were still, and one of her brothers died because they had to go sharecrop, and he had caught the measles a month or something, and they was out there in the rain, and it went back in on him. So all of that kind of stuff. So my mother has not just my mother, but
Okay, Tressa froze for me. Is it the same for you, Gail?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm not sure what happened with Triceratops and all. Sometimes the internet, all that good stuff. But I definitely can resonate when she talks. It sounds like she's going down the path of generational trauma. Like I truly, and trauma definitely sets in a body certain ways. When I was about 12, my leg bone slipped from my hip bone. How many times did that happen for a preteen? And they had to pin it up. And I truly believe it possibly was the trauma, because trauma usually a time for women is held in that area.
okay, kid.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
You were, yeah.
Welcome
So
back.
you were
Yeah.
talking.
You were
I was
gone.
like, okay. So my mother them, so her people grew up in an era where there was, even in 62, they hardly had any food and stuff. It was just scarce. Like this scarcity, all the family members, and they out there. And my dad, on the other hand, his father and his mother and their family in the 60s was considered middle class. My grandfather built the house. When he burned, he built another house. I'm not saying they had it all together. I'm just saying there's generational stuff. And I remember doing some work around my womb. And I remember having this, I don't know if it was necessarily a dream or like this vision. And I knew to call my grandmother's name. But I realized in that moment I was healing this space for ancestors. So I realized not all of this trauma is mine. Not all of it is mine. Some of it is generational. But the part that I am responsible for is that once I begin to understand where I've connected with that, doing the inner work to move that so that I don't keep carrying that baggage. So, ladies, if you could have one final word for our audience, what would it be? We've kind of run over just a little bit, but I want to respect women's time and men's time, whoever listens to this.
Yes. I think for me, is really trust your intuition and be authentic.
Yes. And
Gail?
for me, holding a place in my own life for myself and being truthful to myself. Those old words, "to thy own self be true," they never really rang true to me until I got older. And I just started, experiencing an assortment of things in my life. And then I just got tired of lying to myself. So to my own self, to thy own self, be true. And hold a place of positivity for yourself. So keep score of positive things that have happened to yourself. Do you all hear me?
Yes. I'll show you. Just letting you talk.
Oh, okay. Keep a positive place, a stronghold just for yourself. And some of those generational curses, you have to make peace with them or pack them away, because some of them are not serving they're never gonna serve you at the life that you have right now compared to the stuff that used to go on in your life. So stop showing up for yourself for me, I can only speak for myself for the last minute, because I am the midnight hour chick. The minute before the minute is due for me to do something, that's when I'll do it. And I would be a frantic, nervous lunatic. So I had to start scheduling time to sit still and focus and address the things that need to be addressed. And even if if I can only do it for 15 minutes, that's better than me waiting until that, let's say the hour before a report or something is due. Then I'm running around like a lunatic trying to do it. And then I'm beating myself up. So I had to stop that because it wasn't serving me, and it was making me anxious inside, messing with my system. It was messing with my system. And I need all of this stuff to flow. So
wow.
That's my last entry.
I'm sorry, Gail.
No, I'm good. Go for it.
So these have been some great women, some great talk today, sisters. We kind of talked about things that where we can see things that didn't serve us well, where we can see where our baggage were, where we can see where we've been given different opportunities and scenarios to kind of clean up, wash and heal things and move on. And I think what I would leave the audience with me when you're talking about releasing the baggage, everything I do, is it going to honor me or not honor me? If it's not going to honor me, then I need to leave it. The next thing I would say, and I keep asking this to the women all the time, is it bringing you pleasure?
Woo!
Because pleasure is not just sexual, but is it lighting you up?
Yes.
And we didn't really hit, and it's time to go, but I'll just throw this in there. There's sexual baggage that need to be released. All of this stuff. Because when we hold ourselves and don't even let ourselves enjoy, not necessarily sex, but the creative energy that sex brings and the intimacy that can flow through our bodies in other ways, that's another way we carry baggage. But yes, is it lighting you up? Is it bringing you pleasure? Does it honor you? And the question is, does it honor you? And I did not say, does it meet Bianca's standards? I said, does it honor you? So that's for me, those two things help me to unpack. Because some of the things that I'm talking about unpacking is not because it's quote unquote something bad. It might be something I've outgrown. And the baggage is I feel like I got to keep carrying it because maybe mama did it, somebody else did it, or maybe because I feel like I've outgrown it. But then I might hurt somebody's feelings because my friend gave me that. But I got to keep carrying that because I don't want to hurt her feelings. So does it honor me? And does it light me up? And that's the life that I want to come. And every time I feel like for me, that's going to help me unpack a lot of baggage. And keep me from adding more baggage into the suitcase. If I do things I don't want to do, I do things that get on my nerves. I do things just because somebody else or whatever the reason is, and I don't speak up and tell my truth. It's like I'm just adding stuff to the suitcase.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, thank you, ladies. Thank you, sisters. Thank you, sisters, for this opportunity to share with our community, with the world, whoever see this. I feel like it's just been a great talk today.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think we're at the point where we should share where everyone can find us. Mine is easy breezy. Facebook, Bianca McAtee Thompson. On Instagram, Fabulous by Intention. And my website is fabulousbyintention.com.
Okay, Gail?
You can find me under my author name, Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. I have a website, CamilleSt.CharlesMississippi.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So look for me on all of those places. You can find me for my Roxanne sagas, therseries.com. And you can also find me for my cookbook, Dessert Novella Suite. So go to my Camille St. Charles, Mississippi.com. You can go there and it'll just springboard everything. And you can just step into the world or the universe of Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. And it has just been a delight. I feel a lot lighter unloading some of my baggage with you all because I had forgotten about them. But hey, I'm good now.
Yes. And I am Tresa Simmons. You can find me on Facebook as Tresa Simmons. Instagram is Uniquely Brilliant 2, TWO. My website is Transformative Conversations. And Transformative Conversations and Solutions.com. You can find on there also the sister circle called Voices. And you can find my book in Barnes & Noble, online, Barnes & Noble. You can find my book Walmart, and it was one other place, y'all. I'm sorry, I had a part.
Amazon?
You have to order it. Amazon, and thank you. And you have to order it. So also, I just want everyone to just know we really, really, really appreciate you. And hopefully we've inspired you to unpack some baggage, giving you some tips about what that might look like. And yet I still encourage everybody to be individual. Find what works for you, but just find it. So have a great one, everyone, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay, y'all, how do we come?